number 1. We kick off to the bottom right hand side of the map, where we will be starting with the Protoss player in this series. From Armor Team, it is going to be, in red, ShoWTimE. And to the bottom left hand side, our blue Zerg player from NC Sports. Give it up for Serral. Anyways, I mean, you know, again, like I said, for me, I talk about the game because that's sort of my style, and believe it or not, I don't talk to my hand puppet next to me or something, or my Zergling toy to fill the early stages of the game, because that's not really an option, right? So yeah, what's up, guys? How are you feeling? Thanks for joining us here. Best of fives. We are going to cast the rest of this tournament. I know it's going to be the same as what Base Trade has shown you, but I've learned the last couple of days a lot of you guys want to watch me, even if I'm casting the same as what Base Trade has casted, which is cool, which is awesome. So thank you for joining me, and thanks for showing up, and let's enjoy some StarCraft 2 together. As the openings here from both sides will be nothing too out of the ordinary, no Nexus First or anything to comment on, just Gate Nexus Core. Sorry, no, it is Nexus First, yes, no? Yeah, it is Nexus First. There is a Nexus First to comment on, look at that! I mean, one of the larger maps here in Newkirk, Nexus First, something you can go for. He's going to go for the double gate follow-up as well. This is something which has actually died out even when you go Nexus First. So, with the double gate, what happens is that you're able to produce a bunch of units early. Even after the Nexus First, you're producing 2 units at a time. So while you're really kind of boosting your own economy super nicely with this Nexus, you're then going into units 2 at a time, which can generally pressure across the map. Now, it used to be that we'd almost always see kind of a couple of depths initially, because it forces so many Zerglings, it cuts the drawing count of the Zerg player, and all the rest of it. Nowadays, you actually sometimes still just see that single adept, but a stalker building at the same time, and the main use of the double gateway is to actually, say, get like a couple of sentries out for force fields. It depends what you want to go as a follow-up, so we'll see what ShoWTimE wants to do, we'll see what he builds above this. His Cybercore not far from finishing. Well, of course, from Serral, I mean, he's not done or seen anything so far in particular, which is going to make him change his build order or anything along those lines. You're going to be seeing this third hatch will be dropped down to the top side. And we're just going to be seeing Serral getting that set up and ready to rumble. So, again, for him, that's so good so far, but he hasn't seen what ShoWTimE exactly is up to just yet. As he comes up here now, well, maybe he did get a little bit of an idea. And ShoWTimE does go into the double adept, will kill off this first Zergling, and again, as we mentioned, this will be a great way to pressure forwards, and to get a little bit of damage done initially. Behind it throws down the Stargate, which again, we've seen so much of in the PvZ lately. Generally 1 or 2 oracles with the single Phoenix to push back the overlords, while just harassing. Revelation is very important as well, just to keep information on your opponent throughout the entirety of the game. Because the oracles, you don't want to throw them away, you don't want to lose them, you want to use the revelations throughout to be able to know what you're engaging into, what sort of engagement you should be looking to take. And as we see the 2 adepts moving forwards, we're just going to be seeing a couple of lings getting, ooh, actually, missed target fired there, could have got 2 lings, but instead gets 1, and 2 lings go on to half health. Small mistake, but not really kind of game-changing or game-ending anyway. Looks like a ling made it to the main base as well, so Serral in the meantime also picking up some scouting information. Obviously not much to see in the main, but it's nice to get there just in case. I mean, the Overlord does pick up the majority of the information here, which is going to be the Oracle coming up from the Stargate. Guys, don't make me say this more than once, but please, let's not hate in the chat. I respect that you all have opinions and you prefer certain casters and all the rest of it, but please, 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 can we not go hating people? Again, it's a topic which is very sensitive here in the chat, because people take it too far every time you start to talk about it, so if you can't be nice, just don't say anything. Again, appreciate that you might not like someone's casting, but you don't have to start telling us that they're pricks and that they don't deserve to live or something, so keep the chat civil, or my mods are going to come in and ban you. And then you're going to have to go on Reddit and complain about me complaining about something and get me in trouble again. Second oracle about to pop up from ShoWTimE. Again, just the combination of oracles here, just to kind of poke around with and see what's up. Third Nexus comes down. If these are depths from earlier, he's obviously able to hold this very safely. A couple of sentries warping in. And as the robot finishes up as well, we look to see this very standard composition. Ooh, a warp prism. I was going to say, well, I wasn't gonna say at all. That's just me being a complete and utter liar. But the warp prism is very interesting because it means he's likely to kind of get across here and be aggressive with the initial adepts and sentries. So going to be a little bit different. 2 oracles coming in, and Serral does lose a queen, and actually the second queen going to go down as well. Pulls the damaged oracle further back. 2 queens getting dropped by these oracles. Really nice stuff here. Void on the way as well from Serral. He's from ShoWTimE. Sorry, he never made the initial Phoenix we discussed. A Void Ray does the same, but I mean, he actually shows the warp prism flying past. Looks as though the prism just going to be for some adept-based harassment. Not going to be doing a full-on frontal push, which I sort of thought might be the situation. Just looking to harass and kind of, again, distract while he sets up into his later game. For the Twilight Forge dropping down behind this, it means that ShoWTimE is able to get into the next stage of this game for himself, as he already has these oracles again poking away in the main. The more drones he kills down now, the more he slows Serral down for the future. Now, we've talked so much about what ShoWTimE's up to and, you know, what ShoWTimE's killing, what he's setting up into, the fact this warp prism is maybe a bit interesting. But we haven't talked much at all about what Serral's going for, and the fact of the matter is, it is just a straight-up standard ZVP playstyle we've been seeing in and out for players, you know, for the past couple of days. Melee upgrade, he's going to drop the Hydrogen in a moment and start up Bane speed. We know what the structures are going to be, etc., because it's just exactly, it's exactly the way these guys have been playing. A lot of the Zerg players have been playing. There's the Hydrogen, there's the Bane speed, and Serral does turn around this warp prism with very minimal effort, actually. Good position on his lings initially, queens to poke it back. Meanwhile, this Void Ray does come forwards, and he is still just hunting overlords. He's already picked up, actually hasn't picked up 1 kill at all. I guess the first overlord got chased away by stalkers, or sentries or something. Anyways, first kill comes onto this Void Ray now, and he will turn away from these 2 queens, which are just sat to the side of the base. Again, these 2 oracles just coming up through the top side or through the center, and again, just keeping map control, seeing if there's anything moving through the center anytime soon. Spine actually going to build behind the natural there just to kind of help with, I guess, a depth-based harassment from this prism. And as we're just going to be seeing the few drones pulling away again. The Spore not here just yet on the 4th base, so oracles able to do quite a bit. Did he drop a revelation yet? I don't think he did, right? Just really using the oracles just to clean out creeps. Actually something cool we've seen with these oracles recently as well. That's a very new thing. Kind of the observer oracle combo is not something we've seen too much of in the past. As we do have the queens again pushing this Void Ray back through the center. A couple more creep teamers will come down. Queens very quick to replace these and to re-establish the creep spread. Psystorm coming up from ShoWTimE, and again for him, this is everything we expect it to be. Each part of this composition has its own role. The sentries to force field and to kind of keep the Banes at bay for a while. The High Templar to really kind of water down the, whoa, that's a dead High Templar right away. High Templar kind of just wither away at some of the Lings and Banes before they reach the army. They make the Hydras a little bit weaker before the Immortals do the majority of the damage and pew and through. Archons as well, very tanky alongside those Immortals. Both are very important parts of kind of soaking the Banelings. And then the Zealots charge forwards just to try and protect the Immortals a bit. Once the Banes have disappeared, the Zealots are there to kind of take the hits from the Hydras to again just keep those Immortals and etc. So on alive. So that's why we're seeing all these different parts of the all these different units being part of this composition of ShoWTimE. As time passes by, what he'll continue into will really depend on what Serral goes for himself. It's kind of weird because usually the Zerg player is the reactionary player of the Protoss. But actually in this sort of setup with the Lingbane Hydra, the Protoss is much more reactionary because as the Protoss player, you either see the Zerg continue to attack and harass, in which case you continue to build up this army. Or you see the Zerg player teching, and that's when you begin to tech into your late game. And it's just simply because of the fact that you don't really gain much from teching against this Lingbane Hydra too early on. In fact, if you go into air units right away now, you'd probably just find yourself in a lot of trouble and probably just losing because of the fact you didn't invest enough into the ground army to survive against this, unless you're able to win a fight very convincingly, in which case you'd still be better off building the ground army because it makes the next fight go even more convincingly, and then you just snowball through into victory. So that's what we usually see. Is we see a few Banes approaching the front. Won't really connect on much just yet. So it's an interesting one. No Mothership Core at the front, not sure where that is. The force field's now coming in, as this entire mineral line has been evacuated, pulling the probes into just a safer location. Where are the probes? Where the flip did the probes go? There they are. Pulling the probes away just because he obviously kind of, more than anything, I think, wants to kind of stop Banes from rolling in towards them, because that could be one of the disastrous things we've seen happen a few times this weekend. where, all of a sudden, ShoWTimE's taking a good fight, he's holding on quite nicely, and suddenly Bane's hit the mineral line, 20 workers go down, and suddenly, that just affects him when it comes to the next fight, because he's suddenly missing 20 workers of economy for a couple of minutes. Not pretty. Lings and Spine to the top side defend this attack. The attack in just moments ago from Serral wasn't really pretty at all. In fact, it's pretty much a disaster. Look at that resources lost. He killed basically nothing over here. It was a bad fight. I mean, he could have attacked in from the northern side at the same time, so he wasn't just fighting through this one choke point. But the force fields were very easily placed, and the few Banes that did get through and connect just hit onto kind of really just one or two immortals, so it wasn't really that fantastic. As just seeing the army from ShoWTimE as he warps into the main base. Serral obviously has to come back and deal with this, but it is very interesting actually, I think, because ShoWTimE is in this sort of position where he's sort of, I guess it's sort of what we just sort of talked about in a way, where he's won the last fight quite convincingly, and so now you can just try and look for another fight as well. You can sort of see here just not really a way for Serral to engage in. A couple of Banes do sneak in, and they do connect on a couple of High Templar, but there's still 6 of them remaining in the army. So many Storms still remaining, and this Warp Prism is still a massive issue in the main. Hive on the way down from Serral. We're going to see a Spire dropping down into the natural expansion as well. We're going to be seeing a couple of Crypt Tumors getting cleaned out also. And again, Lings, Banes, Hydras, all joining up towards the front. And again, just going to be seeing this large army of ShoWTimE coming through the northern side. A couple of Crypt Tumors going to get cleaned out, another one as well. And here we go, ShoWTimE getting ready to push on through. Serral is trying to take up into the later stages of the game, realizing perhaps that his aggressive play here wasn't working. Whoa, you see that? He hold positioned some Banes to try and, I think, just stop them from rolling into all of this too quickly. And to kind of, stay away from the Storms. I've never really seen a Zerg use and hold position in that sort of way before. The Prism, man, just keeps finding ways to warp in and ways to kind of be such a nuisance. I mean, to be fair, Serral somehow only loses 9 workers, but it does pull him back, allowing ShoWTimE to push into this base. Suddenly this base is down, and now ShoWTimE is going to be able to just kind of, again, just take more and more of an advantage at every single turn here. And Serral has just been struggling throughout the entirety of game number 1. It's funny because ShoWTimE just looks kind of completely confident and dominant in this game. It was actually funny. It's funny because yesterday, in Serral versus Neeb, we saw the sickest PvZ best of 5, and it's kind of, I don't want to say this, Serral just kind of stomped Neeb a couple of times in macro games. Not stomped, but his first attack didn't get completely crushed like this, put it this way. And he's now in this sort of weird situation where ShoWTimE is just somehow finding a way to deflect these attacks at Serral. This was nice. Banes connecting nicely into a mineral line. 13 probes go down. I mean, that is the sort of thing that will slow ShoWTimE down in the future. But Serral is not about the future right now. It's about the present. How does he survive this moment right here? Well, here we go. Bane's going to come in from the top, from the bottom. He's going to try and connect on everything, but there's just so many immortals. The Zealots hold back so that when the Banes have disappeared, he can then send those Zealots forwards so that they can deal with the Hydras and tank. And this, again, just the correct sort of micro you want to use against this army. GG. Serral types out because ShoWTimE just has way too much. Game number 1 goes the way. Let's go into this. Let's see what's going to happen. Game number 2. ShoWTimE has been dominant so far. He spawns as the red Protoss player to the top left-hand side of the map. ShoWTimE. Camera bug. It's okay, fixed it. Bottom right-hand side from NC Sports, it's Serral. Oh man, how are we doing in the chat? It's raining. That ain't good. Guys, again, just to reiterate, our remaining series today will be this series, then Neeb versus Gumiho, then the winner of this plays the loser of Neeb Gumiho, and then, oh yes, and then, we do have the grand final. We will be bringing you guys all of that content, all of that StarCraft. I'm not going to rest. I'm going to keep going throughout the day. We can rest tonight. We can rest when there's no more StarCraft. We can rest when there's nothing left to be done. We should be, I think tomorrow, by the way, we're live with Underdogs Season 33 playoffs, in case you're wondering what we're going to cast tomorrow. French tournament. Always fun to watch. Tuesday, go for SC2 monthly finals. Well, hey, donation coming on through. Give me a quick moment to just tab. We may as well read this. Nothing too crazy going on at the start of this game. Pretty much, yes. Just the double gate coming down here from ShoWTimE already is pretty much what we saw in the last game. Off of the Nexus first, so far pretty much exactly the same. Thank you very much to Arjuna. Arjuna? I'm not sure how you want me to say it. I'm going to go with Arjuna. It looks like it should be like Arjun or something. Thank you very much for the $5. Says, keep up the good work, Wardy. Thank you very much for the kind words, dude. Appreciate it. And I will keep up the good work. And you're the new Bit Boss, because apparently our Bit Boss is still working on donations as well. Perfect. Because I was worried about the Bit Boss, because the other day it didn't want to work on anything, and today it's like working on everything. So thank you very much for the $5. Do appreciate it. Can we see some love in the chat, some hearts? You can slam some STI loves if you want. You pick what you want to support, what you want to show, to kind of show some love. But let's see some love for our donation. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate it. So we talked about this in the last game, and that is going to be the 2 adepts coming out. And that, of course, will, again, obviously kind of force more units than usual from Serral, which will generally, again, just push ShoWTimE a little bit further into the eco lead in the early stages. Now I'm going to be seeing a Stargate coming down as well, so pretty much from ShoWTimE, just a repeat of Newkirk Precinct. And to be fair, Abyssal Reef is... I mean, a lot of the times I feel dumb saying this, but it's kind of true. Abyssal Reef is kind of a kind of a Newkirk Precinct clone, and that sounds dumb. It's not a clone, but it shares a lot of similarities. You know, I guess it's, you know, it's not a twin of Newkirk Precinct, but it's like its brother, where it's got a lot of similarities, but looks different enough to tell it apart rather easily. Like, for example, there's, you know, I'm just going to sort of show you, Newkirk Precinct is much narrower, but the reality is on Abyssal Reef, while there's a lot of attack paths, it generally will come down to this pathway around here or there, you know? And so, there's, again, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's very limited. There's very limited kind of number of bases, I guess. There's very limited ways into the 3, 4, 5 bases, which is basically the same on Newkirk. And it's kind of weird because there is a lot of options on Abyssal, but as you wall them off, it basically becomes more Newkirk-esque. I know it sounds really dumb, like, because it looks so different in Newkirk, but it does play out in such a similar way, and goes generally in towards these longer macro games. Arjun, you want me to call you Arjun? Perfect. There we go. I learn names. Thank you for telling me. I do try and remember. Obviously, sometimes it's difficult, and sometimes I will forget, but if I ever do get it wrong, please do feel free to correct me. I'm always going to do my best to get your name right. It's one of my favorite parts about stream. Well, maybe sometimes it's my favorite part, but it's one of the most interesting parts, figuring out how to say everybody's names. Some people have those really obvious names, and then some people have the really like, oh my god, how on earth is this meant to be spelled? You know? Aquanuts comes on in with the 6-month resub. Can we get some love for that in the chat as well? Thank you very much. 6 months of being an esport hero. Thank you. Some more SJ hearts, loves, or whatever else you guys want to throw out there. Thank you indeed. Oracle still just sat over to the right hand side. Will Stasis ward up the back of this mineral line? We are going to be seeing a I trust a single drone being called good respawn. Says, oh, it's the same over here. That's nice. Oh, he does get his drones caught in stasis. We discussed this the other day, actually. It was on Abyssal Reef as well. We were discussing kind of getting your kind of eggs caught in a stasis. And someone told me it would never be useful. But you know what? This is 4 drones, which are now 20 seconds later than they should be. You know, that's just as useful as actually stasising 4 drones. So, hey, there we go. It is useful. There we go. That's actually sick. I actually really never knew that it was that was a thing, you know. Anyways, let's see how this continues. We haven't really talked much, as much as we maybe should have about this game, but so far it's been pretty kind of standard, as we've been mentioning, using the oracles to harass a bit here and there. The prism has come up yet again, and I mean I don't really need to talk about what Serral is doing because it's exactly the same. You know, melee just finished, and as the lair just finished up as well. Watch out for that Hydroden in the production tab. Watch out for that Baneless Speed in the production tab on the screen because they're both right here. We'll have to come in and deal with these adepts momentarily. A couple of workers being killed. The Banes are going to run it over. Waddle, 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 waddle. Oh, the adepts got away. Again, just needs that Bane speed to come into is the one thing he's just missing out on right now that we expect him to invest into as well. On Newkirk, there aren't that many run by paths. Yeah, sure, this is one of the things that... This is why I sort of feels like, whoa, 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 Sentry is going to get picked off right there. That's a huge play by Serral. Triple Sentry going down. That is definitely true, but the difference is, I think, is that eventually it comes into the same kind of two pathways, you know, where you've got a pathway here to defend and you've got a pathway here to defend, because you're walled off over here more or less. So really, while there is more run by pathways, late game, it again becomes that sort of situation on Newkirk where there's only one or two ways in towards the bases. I guess one of the ways it does change a little bit later on is the fact that past 5 base, you know, the 6 base is a bit more out there and is a much easier to kind of harass into. But for 4 to 5 bases, I really do feel it's like, you know, you can attack in one way or the other, and that's sort of the same with Newkirk also. I mean, again, obviously it's not quite the same. Obviously there's differences. But that's what I mean when they say there's similarities, you know? I mean, obviously there's differences. It's a different map, but they have the same feel to them. Sorry, maybe it was a dumb thing to say. Maybe I didn't explain myself well enough to kind of justify what I was saying. I was going to see Void Ray over here, going to pick off this Spore Crawler trying to come on down. Still a little bit of just harassment everywhere from ShoWTimE. Love the Spore Crawler pick off because now the Oracles do have the possibility to fly on in, get some damage done. I mean, if the Hydra's out, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to guarantee that damage, but we haven't seen just yet the Hydra's really be in position to protect these drones, and so there we go, Oracles come in, and so this was an attack that was set up a couple moments ago by ShoWTimE, and now he takes advantage of it, and indeed he is going to be able to get, again, just 4 workers, but still a nice amount. Again, anything you can do to slow down the Zerg at this point, as we do see +2 melee upgrades coming on through. We're going to see the Psystorm upgrade about to finish up on the Templar Archives, and the +2 attack upgrade on the Forge coming in as well. Revelation drops down on the Zerglings, Banes keep rolling forwards also. I'm just going to be seeing again a few more Hydras on the way up. 14 more Zerglings as well in the production tab. And these things just run up the ramp and don't really have too much to do. And that +2 melee will be finishing shortly. And that's what Serral is obviously aiming to fight with here in the near future. He'll break down these rocks to open this pathway into the 4th. And well, then we're going to be seeing how well ShoWTimE can defend this. I like these couple of gateways at the front. And it's going to be a very nice way to choke things out. And here comes the Oracles to start throwing down those stasis wards, just to kind of try and catch a few of these units here and then as well. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised though if Serral just tried to throw a couple of Lings forwards just to get caught in that initially, because he would be expecting probably some stasis here. Oh, no way, he set it off. He set it off with the Zergling that died, so nothing really looking as though he got caught there. As Banes don't really want to keep on rolling towards the gateways. It's not a super efficient way to utilize those Banelings. It would be just much better to keep on poking away with the Hydralisks. Sentries right now do have energy for a few more force fields. So this isn't going to break through just yet. Now, one thing that's very easy to do on Abyssal is to kind of rotate some units over here and try and harass towards the natural expansion. And that's something which, obviously, ShoWTimE will have to be very aware of if the Zerg stays in an aggressive position. But right now, his Zealots come on through, and they are going to be successful in doing a bit of damage here and pulling Serral all the way back to the other side. Some Banes are still out here looking for the connections, but ShoWTimE is not going to be caught unawares. He's not going to have his pants down. And he's going to throw those force fields down, clean up those Banes, and again, nothing really lost here for ShoWTimE. Good defense. Ling, Bane, Hydra from Serral still setting up, and actually we're going to see a few units from the south, a few units from the west, and here we go, a couple of storms dropping down into this. Actually, this is messy, because suddenly the Banes are all the way in the center of that army. High Templar go down. Oh no, ShoWTimE loses absolutely everything in a crushing fight from Serral. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE has a lot of Zealots running around the map. Serral will go respond to it, which does give ShoWTimE some time to get back on his feet, but man, that's a lot of losses. Every Immortal being dropped makes the future fight so much more, gives him so much more potential for Serral to just break through and to actually kind of do the game-ending damage that he's looking for here. Lings, Banes, Hydras coming in towards the center of the map, looking to see what they can get up to. A lot of Zealots over here as well. High Templars too getting set up and ready for more Templar warping into now Archons. Again, no real Immortals though, and I mean, he does have Storms. That's going to be one of the big things of this, obviously, as he will lose. Oh, he doesn't quite lose an Archon at the front there. He looked as though he might have done. A few Banes do sneak forwards. Somehow not a single one of them managing to connect, though. And again, just trying to break through this front position. Serral is quite eager to get through here, as you can see. The Stasis Lings acting as a bit of a force field on their own right now. Storm still dropping. The High Templar staying safe in the back, staying away from those Banelings, but now there isn't anything to start stopping those Banelings. This Void Ray in the sky going to get dropped almost instantly, but actually Serral is out of Ling Bane as well, so he probably is at this point where he has to start backing away. Hydras on their own, they are not very tanky, they will go down. And we see yet another attack from ShoWTimE around the right side of the map. These Zealots consistently coming across here, just again distracting, slowing Serral down, and it's just a way for ShoWTimE to stay in this game and to, again, buy time for Triple Immortal to come out of the production tab and onto the map. Prism to the far left side. I guess he's just warping in these Zealots here and just running them all the way around. Might be nice for kind of Serral just to get an Overlord here and an Overlord there. It's been difficult because earlier the Void Ray was cleaning those out, but it would be good vision for him now just to see those potential future Zealot run-bys, just kind of in a bit, a bit further in advance so he just knows about it. Great Aspire starts dropping down here. We're going to see another 7 Banelings starting to build. This Warp Prism through the south side will be dropping towards the natural in the near future. And ShoWTimE, as Serral goes into the Great Aspire, ShoWTimE begins to prepare. The first 2 Tempests of the game coming down out. So we are getting to that stage of the ZVP where we're heading in towards the much kind of later game. You're going to see this couple of Zealots going to start dropping down, and we're going to see a whole bunch of Warp Pins. But actually it's going to be cancelled by the Spore Crawler, which kills the Warp Prism. Great Aspire, those taking some damage, will be able to transfuse it once here to keep it alive. Is it enough? Yes, it is. Great Aspire alive, but low on health. Already a new Spire building, but it's actually also in a very vulnerable position. I'd much rather see this Spire, like, right here, or here. Like, where haven't those Zealots been? Well, the Zealots keep coming in here, so over here isn't even that great. This is very Warp Prismable. But what about just right here? What about, like, I don't know, like here, like, just right in the center, somewhere it's really not going to get killed off. I mean, here might not be great, but even just a bit further back, like there. It's just that sort of position that's less likely to be attacked into as well. There's no Banes in this, right? He's just playing Ling Hydra, kind of attacking forwards. Here the Banes, a little bit late to the party. Nice storm as the Banes trying to roll forwards are going to get caught in that. That's really messy. Serral loses a lot. And this wasn't really a fight he wanted to take, he's actually going to kill a lot of probes over here with this Bane run by. That's the only thing that's really gone his way, though. Wow, this probe is really flying. He wanted to be apparently he wanted to be a rocket. And he wanted to go to the moon. Sadly, he'll barely break the surface of the ocean. Because this is Abyssal Reef. Maybe if he was on Proxima Station or something, he could go to the moon. Anyways, do you see the army of ShoWTimE will be knowing how good a engagement that was just previously. Great Aspire up, but again, Serral, because he just took that fight and he lost a lot, he's not really in a position or a scenario where he's going to be able to do much more, I guess, is the best way of saying it. Like, he really isn't. I mean, this is a sort of situation where... I mean, it's true. This is a sort of situation where Serral should have just sat back a bit more. And just waited. Because again, he's going Broodlords, like he's hitting his own late game. There's no need for him to keep on being aggressive. Unless he saw the Tempests and figured that because he's still been building Lingbane Hydra, he felt as though he could take a fight against what's a higher tech composition, but not necessarily a better composition. Like, the Tempests don't add in too much against this kind of Lingbane Hydra. Like, they're okay, but, they're not any better than Immortals or Archons. In fact, they're probably worse. Zealots hit the southern left base, and 14 drones go down almost instantly there. Serral, again, just struggling in terms of army supply, so losing extra drones isn't going to exactly help them build up more of that. Banes, again, will rotate around. They want to hit another mineral line, try and just slow down the income of ShoWTimE as best as possible. As much as possible. As much as he can. To the best of his abilities. There's about 8 brokers over here. Don't actually know what he's really going to try and aim for, though. He will just go to this mineral line in the end. MSC floating around too. Main army, though, pushing forwards from ShoWTimE, and I just can't really say that Serral has anything to combat this at this point. I mean, this army is here, it's right now, and I mean, he's got some Infestors. Neural Parasite is about to finish, and I guess he's hoping to try and grab some units in a Neural and just use them against the Prolus player, but it's just not happening. Serral's army is disappearing. Another Archon goes down. ShoWTimE to the top side is got still kind of a good few units gathering together. +1 flyer attack is going to be finishing on this Great Aspire very soon as well. And still just going to be seeing actually ShoWTimE backing away, but and he's picked off this base. This base is very low on health, and he'll know that. And yeah, I mean, there's the Zealots. It was just a matter of time until another wave of Zealots started heading down to that bottom side. and starting to charge on in to take this engagement and to shut this hatchery down, basically. So, in a moment or two, Serral isn't really going to have much mining left over. This low ground base is pretty healthy, I suppose, in terms of gas especially. A few minerals on it as well. Minerals on the third base are dying out. The natural is pretty much gone. Gas pretty much gone as well. Serral just struggling to get enough bases up. And again, with the ways he's been trading, he does need more bases than ShoWTimE in the long run. So, that's something he's going to have to be careful of. ShoWTimE waiting with those zealots may just be waiting until he knows the army's out of position, until he can see the opportunity for himself to kind of maybe move across himself and just distract. Either would be a great way to make this work out. He's looking it's going to act as a choke point, a funnel that the Archons just can't fit through. Unfortunately, the Lings still will go down. A few probes went down somewhere along the ways. These Zealots can charge forwards. I mean, the entire army is basically here to protect this base. Is it enough? Transfusers will start to drop. There's plenty of Queens, actually. But in the meantime, the main army's pushing forwards here anyways. The Zealots go down. Serral shuts it down. He holds for now 5 more Infestors. And he's really just hoping for the, you know, the neural everything strategy to work out for himself, right? Because at this point in time, isn't exactly looking great for him if he's just going to try and keep on fighting. The Tempest actually finish off this base. Storm's getting an Infestor or 2 already. Actually, a couple of nice fungals. He will chain it onto some of those High Templar. Does he get the kills? Yes, he does. 3 of them wither away. And they go back to Aya. Just grab one single Archon with the Neural. We'll let go of it as he gets this around, gets the kill. ShoWTimE just pulling around himself, looking to see how he wants to go about this sort of position in the middle of the map. Lings, Hydras, and Festers. I still just don't see how Serral really fights this army. I mean, again, I hate to be the negative one. I hate to be the one that's sort of just dragging us down. But the reality is, it ain't looking pretty. Lings continue to head in towards the upper left-hand side. I mean, another couple of fungals are nice, but the problem is the fungals aren't really killing right now. They're just delaying. And it's all well and good delaying and not dying right here and right away. But I think it might be important to survive, you know, to at some point still have a way to get rid of the Protoss army, because otherwise you're just delaying the inevitable, right? Here we go then, pushing on through. This hatchery is going to be in trouble. The Hydra is going to keep on trading with some Zealots. Some neural parasites can be used, but I mean, how much are you really going to get done? 2 Archons being controlled right now. The Storms drop down. I mean, he's doing okay. Another nice fungal hitting the High Templar. Very difficult composition to kind of control here from Serral, of course, using those fungals and all the abilities all the time, basically, on the Infestors. Ling counterattack is starting to get rid of this base. Maybe able to hit down this low ground expansion too. But again, I mean, he's also continue to work their way through this hatchery as well. Ling's Hydras continue to work on through this. We're going to see a neural parasite dropping down. Tempest still trading. Got another couple of Storms coming down to the right hand side. Ling's running forwards as well. Archon's doing a bit more damage. Ling's to the top will end up burrowing. And still Hydras and Festers looking to see what else is happening. Lots of workers going down on either side. Suddenly it's 24 workers apiece, but a bit of an anticlimactic ending. Several types see what's happening. Did I run the ads? Sorry, let me just check. Yes, I did. Perfecto. Just before we go into this, I want to say thank you very much to Fuggernaut, who spread some kind words in the chat. Says, haven't watched your stream before. Really like it. Great casting. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying. Same says Merdrail. Merdrail, is that right, more or less? Hope so. Same. Good shit, yo. Well, thank you very much, dude. Appreciate it as well. Guys are going to jump into game 3 of this series. Let's see what's going to happen. Bottom left side of the map, our red Protoss player. You know who he is. You know what he's up to. It's Armor Team ShoWTimE. 2-0 up against the god himself, Serral. I sort of ruined his intro now, haven't I? This kid has been on fire lately. As we do have our Blue Zerg player, Serral, from Ents Esports to the upper right location of Proxima Station 1. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why all of a sudden we're just doing funny accents and stuff. I have absolutely no idea what's happening. I don't know. Don't blame me. Blame everyone else. I don't know. Oh god. We're all still doing good? We're having a good time in the chat? We're enjoying the games? I hope you are, because if not, you're going to get in trouble. How can you not enjoy ShoWTimE Serral? Fantastic ZVP. Even me, the hater of ZVP, the caster who always bitches about it. is loving this. I mean, when you have like some of the best EVPers in Europe, how could you not? You know, how could you not? So, setting up into this, let's see what's gonna happen. Let's see how this will go. You're gonna see this Nexus dropping down from ShoWTimE. This time it's gonna be the first game of the series he doesn't go Nexus first. So just gonna be seeing the Gateway Cybercore coming up and an Overlord coming down to the south side. A couple of links pop out. Gonna be having a look to see what's happening. This probe just running around down on the low ground on the third base, and link speed is indeed on the way up from Serral as well. So link speed on the way up, couple of queens coming out too. And yeah, not really anything too crazy. Just gonna be seeing a few more drones building, a Stalker on the way up as well. You'll see the Stargate dropping on down, and we'll just be able to again, third game in a row, go for this Stargate, and yeah, nothing too crazy. So yeah, Stargate dropping. Again, I wouldn't say anything too ridiculous so far. This kind of recalls back to my kind of conversation, this discussion we had before this series, where it's like, when these guys are doing the same thing for the third game in a row, but what do you want me to say? You know, like, at this point we should talk about something else, right? Because I guess the difference is no Nexus first. Why would he do this? Well, I actually don't know why you wouldn't Nexus first on this map. Maybe he's just afraid of becoming too predictable and some sort of aggression hitting him. And that actually, I mean, that's a possibility. Also, the fact that, oh, the Stalker going to get caught by the speedlings. I mean, he gets the Overlord, he gets some other bits and pieces as well. But, yeah, actually, what I was just going to say is that maybe because Proxima is one of those maps where you're a bit more likely to see sort of the link flood possibility. I don't know. But in general, I mean, the Nexus first or Gate Nexus core, either way, it leads you into a similar sort of situation. And now we're just sort of in that sort of situation right here where both players are playing the same, and yeah, we look to see kind of how we continue on through. So again, link to the far left side, and just going to see the robot facility starting up in the main base, and that's standard, right? That's pretty much what he's been doing so far, just running down the robo, getting the Nexus out nice and quickly. Sorry, the Warp Prism out nice and quickly. I'm saying Nexus because he is also going to get the Nexus on the third base nice and quick. Second Oracle on the way up too. And I'm just going to be seeing again this Oracle just going to come through, grabs one drone, and we'll be looking for another in a moment or so. And we'll just come up towards the other side, still just look to see what's happening and what's going on. Guys, I'm just going to say this again quickly. I know you all got opinions and stuff like that, but please no hating on other streamers, etc. in the chat. I appreciate that some of you have very strong opinions about these topics and about certain streamers, but we can't allow you to really just share them because it's just not cool and it doesn't create healthy conversations. So that's what's up, guys. Please. Don't want anyone getting timed out more than need to be. There's better things to talk about. Let's talk about StarCraft. We're watching two of the best PvZers in the world right now, going head to head. Let's talk about the games. Let's enjoy this StarCraft rather than silly little pieces of drama that we don't really need to create. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Do you see some in-depths pushing forwards here from ShoWTimE? I'm just going to be seeing if they can get up to some bits and pieces. Melee upgrade is about halfway done here from Serral, so melee upgrade halfway done. The lair is going to be completing in the near future as well. It's about 75% of the way done. These adepts from ShoWTimE as well. Going to be just repositioning slightly, of course, into the Void Ray coming up into position also. So Void Ray comes into location. Actually will start to work its way through this Overlord. And again, I'm intrigued by the fact that ShoWTimE keeps making kind of Voids rather than a Phoenix. So many Protoss players do just make the single Phoenix. It's a bit faster. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's a very minimal difference. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit faster. It kills Overlord slower. Generally, the Phoenix can cover more area as well if you're kind of defending from future drops. It's a bit of a weird one. Anyways, we're just going to be seeing the Oracle just moving down the right-hand side, creep pushing out through the center, and this gold base also being taken at the moment. So gold base dropping on down as the Templar Archives comes on up. We see a charge upgrade too, and yeah, just second robo facility. Pretty much again the setup we've been talking about. Haven't talked again much about Serral. I keep talking about Protoss so much it seems, but again, Serral's actually making a bit of a change. A fast infestation pit is very different. And this could be playing towards the map, which is Proxima Station, which is the map where you go late game on. It's actually funny that these two players who love to play defensively late game and all the rest of it have chosen Newkirk, Abyssal, then Proxima. Like, those are the 3 maps where you're just allowed with no nonsense to play your game, your longer game especially. It's, it really just kind of tells kind of, you know, it really just is a sign to kind of the players we're watching, you know? Infestation pit then is indeed down, and we see the Spire, the Hive now beginning for him. So basically just rush into Broodlords this time around. We do see Creep continue to push out through the center here. Looking to see what's up. Thank you TLO for the cheer 200 in the chat, mate. How you doing, mate? Great run, by the way. Your ZVZ seems so sick lately. Taking the god Serral to 5 games. Awesome to see, man. It was fun to cast you this weekend. As we do have the Lings, just to jump back into this. Going to be running around. We see the Psystorm upgrade is continuing to come through here. About 75% of the way done. A couple more mortals on the way. 4th Nexus to the far left-hand side of the map as well. Well, I mean, again, Serral, you know, the thing is, ShoWTimE at some point, it has to sort of click. Like, why aren't you being as aggressive as usual? You know, why aren't you spamming me with Ling Bane in my face, you know, all the way, you know, all the time? I think at that point, that's when he sort of, you know, he's got to at some point realize Greater Spire on the way up and all the rest of it as well. So, so yeah, Greater Spire just on the way up. And we will be seeing the, again, the few Zealots just sort of moving around, looking to see where they want to go, split up a little bit. And again, the Lings just going to knock down the rocks and all the rest of it. More Lings and Hydras coming through the center, more Banes as well in the back, and still just seeing ShoWTimE. I mean, just, you know, obviously here, Serral will apply a bit of pressure. He'll push, but it's going to be one push rather than continuous pushes. You know, he's going to attack once, and then instead of remaxing, he'll be building Corruptors and the Broodlords. And this is sort of a play which keeps ShoWTimE busy and keeps ShoWTimE expecting more Ling Bane Hydra, rather than, you know, sort of being like, oh, okay, time to build Tempest. You know, you look at ShoWTimE's vision, no vision on the infestation, but it's still loud on the low ground. Okay, it is, but he hasn't seen any of this. You know, ShoWTimE's scouting has been very limited, considering he has an Oracle still on the map, or he did some moments ago. There it is. He did have an Oracle on the map, so he's got an Oracle to use. It's interesting that he has been so, well, so kind of, you know, he's, you know, just not scouted at all, basically. And it could be about a Biden, because what do you do? I mean, you're going to be playing without Blink, so you can't just warp in Stalkers to blink underneath the Broodlords. And we got High Templar with Storms, we got Archons here. I mean, only 2 of them, though. I mean, he's got enough to fight a couple Broodlords, but he's going to be so late going into Tempest, etc., that when more Broodlords come up, he's really going to struggle. He's going to see still nothing, because the Hive just killed the Hallucinated Phoenix. So, again, ShoWTimE doesn't really know about this just yet. And this rush to Broodlords is really starting to pay off for Serral, I feel, because he's going to get them up, he's going to get them towards the front. And again, only 3 of them, but it'll allow him to, you know, lay siege and see what's going to happen. A couple more High Templars, some more Zealots as well. This game really heating up in the last few moments. So again, some more Zealots up to the top side. Look to see what else he can do. Gonna run around here. Gonna see a couple more Creep Tumors getting picked off. Here come the Broodlords, and now ShoWTimE. Well, there you go. Fleet Beacon starts to drop. He just probably immediately pulls back. He realizes, like, you know, this was not a fight I was expecting to take against Broodlords. So he immediately backs away. Does not want to stick around for this fight. Pushing forwards then, Serral. He only has 3 Broodlords, though. I wouldn't say that's a scary enough number to really justify or kind of, like, to really kind of, like, scare, you know, ShoWTimE too much here. First few Banes going to get hit. Archons will go to the side. The Brood's not in the best of positions just yet. We'll fire down a few more Broodlings. Prism did come up to the top side with some Zealots inside, and that is, of course, one of the things that will be so deadly against the slow, immobile Broodlords. Here we go, some more Broods coming forwards, but they're very much so on their own at the moment. This is going to force Serral to come forwards with the rest of his army, perhaps. The Broodlings are sort of keeping some of the Archons away, but now 3 of the 6 Broodlords are down. Bane's trying to move forwards, more Bane's trying to morph, but I think ShoWTimE has found one of the only fights he could have taken against Broods, which was going to benefit him. He does run out of anti-air here. Whoa, the High Templar mistakenly go too far forwards. Okay, this was good for ShoWTimE. It was better than I thought it would be. Again, like, fighting against a low number of Broods is possible, and you need engagements like that to make it happen. So what now? You know, what comes in next? Well, he is going into Tempest. He's finally getting there. What's interesting is Serral is not really rebuilding Broodlords or going too heavily into this later game tech, you know? More Banes coming off to the side. Whoa! That's a lot of probes going down. Actually, only 8. Maybe not as bad as I thought it was. Storm's coming down here too. These Broods still trying to sit up in the skies, but they're just not dropping enough Broodlings at a time to realistically scare this army. You know, there's this point where, you know, the Immortals can just kill the Broodlings as soon as they drop down, and you're not losing anything. So suddenly Serral has lost so much, and ShoWTimE has kept everything alive. And for rushing up to Broodlords here, I feel Serral just suddenly got so overeager. And he just never really, again, made the units that we were maybe expecting him to make. Like, you know, when you rush to Broodlords, I expect you to push across the map with 7 or 8, all at once, clump them up nicely. Well, not clump them up, but keep them towards the back of your army and push forwards with them as a real threat. Instead, he has them, like, positioned to the side here, not far enough over the ledge that they're safe, but just sort of on the side, the rest of the army's to the north, and, you know, by the time he tries to attack in, it's been a nightmare. It just was not the engagement at all from Serral that he was looking for, and I mean, again, maybe he could really, you know, maybe he just didn't want to wait too long, but I mean, what's he gonna, you know, if he waits 2 minutes to make a bunch more Broods, what's ShoWTimE gonna have? He'll barely have Blink, he'll barely have anything in the skies. I just feel Serral maybe got a bit overeager right there, and definitely hasn't paid off for him. Stasis Wards will protect from some Banes to the right-hand side. Storms coming down once more. Big wave of Banes pushing through right here. Suddenly Serral is making a little bit more progress than he has in the last few moments. He's gone back to just pure Hydraling Bane. He's not making any more Broods, as we see 3 more Tempests coming up through on the sky. Only Immortals really left on the ground, but there's just not that much actually available for Serral either. He doesn't have that many Hydralisks. His Ling Bane isn't really kind of pushing through, and I mean, it takes so many Banes to actually kill off an Immortal. It's hardly efficient. I'm just going to be seeing again a few more units just seeing again, just setting up again. I don't know, man. Like, coming down to the south, Serral's still in this, but he has to take some really good fights, and especially with Tempest coming in. Like, we mentioned this before on Abyssal Reef. Like, Tempests are nice against the Broods. You need them against the Broods. Against the Lingbane Hydra, they're not essential. They're nice. I mean, you could get away with just having more Mortal Archon, but at this point, they're somewhat unkillable, although at the moment, Serral does kill off a lot of the Immortals. Tempest still firing away. Queen's trying to transfuse. Tempest starting to pull back. A couple more Immortals going down. ShoWTimE is maybe just missing a warping or so of Zealots just to keep him safe here. Still pulling back with these Tempests. They are starting to drop. This is the weak part of Tempests. And they are indeed going to be taking a bit more damage. Serral has found the engagements he needed to. He said he needed some stellar engagements, and he has found them in the last couple of moments. A lack of Storm is really there. No High Templar being rebuilt. And that's maybe something that's slowed ShoWTimE down. ShoWTime's still just limited to 4 bases, which is okay for now. His third's still mining his natural bit of juice left in it. But his gases are going to start mining out, and that's when he really needs to think about a 5th base. Serral sat up on a gold. He's got these gases available if he wants them. He's actually pulled out of gas because he had too much of it. He's got another base down to the south side. And this has really been quite the turnaround in this ZVP. I really thought this was over. Like, I looked at this and I thought about this, and I really genuinely thought this was, like, over. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, Serral really fought his way back into this one. Loses the Broods. I guess that was an example of how Tempests aren't always the best, because once the kind of ground army disappears, then the Tempests on their own, they don't do a lot of damage quickly. They do damage slowly from a distance. So, oh, they're nice Storms. So I guess we're getting a real good kind of a vision of how kind of Tempests work out in CVP. How they can be great, how they can be dreadful. Oh, man. I mean, if this series was to end with a 3-0 in favor of ShoWTimE, it really would be a shame, because it is such a fantastic series. Such a fantastic matchup between 2 really great players. Prism hides away down to the bottom right-hand side. We do see, again, Tempests, Templar, Immortals, Archons collecting together themselves. A couple Banes do connect, and some Zealots getting cleaned out rather quickly. And pushing on further forwards here. Well, is there a way to do some more damage? Not just yet. 2 more High Templar warping in at the moment to the top side of Creep Tumor, continue to push on out. And a few more Zealots just warping in from ShoWTimE. Well, ShoWTimE is stabilized, and I think that was one of the important things that he had to do. The problem is, in the time he's spent stabilizing, he hasn't been pushing further forwards with economy and, you know, more bases and all the rest of it. And I think that's what he needs right now. He needs another base, and that's what he's going to struggle to get, having spent the last few minutes just surviving on 4 bases. So I'm sure he'd already built an Ultras cabin, but apparently not. Run one of those down now, going into +1 flyer carapace. +2 carapace on the ground as well. Banes only grabbed one of those high Templar. I thought they were going to make it all the way through. They're getting dangerously close to those Templar every single time. Another one will now fall. Serral pushes ShoWTimE away, and Serral behind this just building up such a large bank. I don't know, is Ultra's going to be the right decision here? I mean, he doesn't have like a massive queens or anything to transfuse them. And he's going to be playing against still there's 6 immortals. I mean, there's still enough to kind of fight their way through and to do quite a lot of damage to the Ultralisks, you know? Lings, Banes, Hydras. Sat a little bit over to the right, and you see this Archon just see what can get up to. Nice Storm. Oh, again though, the Banelers. This time the Banelers connect. The High Templar do go down for once. I just bit my tongue, which doesn't help the caster at all. Ow. And ShoWTimE is going to push this back, but he lost a lot of High Templar, and it's too expensive for him to replace because Serral has just got the economy. ShoWTimE's missing the base. He's oversaturating bases. He's long distance mining. You can just see in the last... yeah, that's maybe the moral of the story. Having taken good fights and mining so much more throughout, that's kind of why Serral is in the position he's in right now. Ultra's coming out as well to help. He'll wait for the kite in his plate, and hopefully before he does take a fight. And just going to be seeing just units spreading out, getting ready to go, guys. So units spreading out. Let's see what's going to happen. Another High Temple warps in. The Lings, Banes, Hydras, Ultras, seeing what they can get up to. And well, there's one Archon going down again. Those Banes keep pushing forwards, and well, they don't have any Templar to kill anymore, and so the Banes will just connect on the Zealots in the back. That's perfect. GG, says ShoWTimE. I think he realizes that this one is kicking off with a bang. Bottom right side, our Red Pearls player from Armor Team is ShoWTimE. He's up against the 12th pool of Serral in the top left from ENCE Esports. How come the one game I have to go to the toilet before and run a break when I wouldn't usually, it turns into a 12th pool afterwards? Like, god damn it, like, come on. I mean, to be fair, you haven't missed much. You've just missed the pool going down. But ShoWTimE did scout, which is important for you guys to know, because it will, of course, affect the way in which he follows up against this, in the sense that he will be able to come through and look to kind of maybe surround this pile and try and do some damage. That's what Serral wants to do, but ShoWTimE... Sorry, I was talking about the wrong player all of a sudden. ShoWTimE... Sorry, I'm just flustered coming back and seeing a 12th pool on the screen. I was like, ah! God damn it, save the day! ShoWTimE will want to protect this pylon, which is hugely important, as Serral, of course, looking to see what damage he can find. Down 7 workers at the moment, pylon targeted, but again, that Zealot and Probe is very ready to fight. Another Zealot! First Ling goes down, and he'll just go up into the main base and look for a little bit more damage then in the next few moments, it would seem. See what else he can get up to. 2 probes killed so far, which is okay, but it's not really quite what he needs. This Zealot is also going to be fought against, and, well, he's going to lose a lot of Lings fighting this Zealot. Is he even going to get the kill? Maybe not if this other Zealot comes in to save him. Ah, Zealot! Run, Zealot, run! Oh, so close to saving his life. It is going to go the way of Serral with the pick-off on the Zealot, but in the end of the day, has Serral done enough to justify this opening? Let's look at what he's done. He delayed the Nexus of ShoWTimE. He forced 2 Zealots to come out of production, which wouldn't usually happen. And right now, you might be like, well, Serral's about to take a worker lead. Fantastic. He's got his own hatchery up, and he's starting Ling speed. Great. But what you don't see just yet is the fact that Serral is about to make more units, because ShoWTimE has units, an Adept and a Zealot. In fact, 2 Adepts and a Zealot. And that is likely to kill at least a couple of workers, and it's going to be a few more, and there's going to be a few more... and there's going to be more units coming out and not drones being made, which means that this is the opportunity for ShoWTimE to really push himself back into this. And third hatchery will be very delayed from Serral too, because his income has been lower than usual at this stage of the game. Adepts move in towards the natural, and they will just stay here because they see the opportunity. There's the 2 workers we're talking about. It's going to be more than 2, 3, 4, and Ling's in production. And you can just see that ShoWTimE really will be the one pulling back into the economically favorite position. Look at that heavy pull as the workers got pulled off the line there. Alright, so Robo Facility drops down behind this. We actually already see a Twilight Council down. ShoWTimE, always good to Corona Boost nothing. That's a good way to fake your opponent out. So Corona Boost not there. We see the Dark Shrine coming down the low ground. Just set up in towards a... I was actually making a joke about the Corona Boost and nothing, but actually, to be fair, you never know when it's the time that it's going to just fool Serral a little bit, So Dark Shrine Archon drops is the goal right now. Serral pushing forward, sees this structure. Don't know if he clicked on it. Don't think he did. Zealot is actually sat at the third base still. Kind of forgot that went up there, but it is going to block that drone from being able to do too much more. And from making that third hatch. So ShoWTimE just for an even longer amount of time here delaying Serral from the third hatchery. And again, generally throughout this game, ShoWTimE's been mining more. That said, nowadays I have a bit of a different opinion on this because nowadays I realize that actually Protoss players have an income lead anyways against Zerg for the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. So I actually wonder if this is less of an income lead than the Protoss usually has, or more. It actually feels like this might be okay for Serral. He's actually, by the way, got a Roach Roaring. I think that's the first time we've seen a Roach Roaring in this series, and making some Roaches. And he's going into a lair behind this, but this is obviously some form of aggression here, right? Or is he just really getting ready for... I guess the Archon drops are about to arrive, so maybe this is just my own game sense being bad, even though I can see everything. I guess the Roach is just going to be to help kind of, again, displace those Archon drops and to put them where, push them away, put them where they don't want to be. Problem is, this fourth base, or third hatchery, does not have, in fact, there's no Spore Crawlers up. Oh, Serral. Ah, yes. That is problematic. Well, this base is going to get cancelled, obviously. He lets it kind of live for as long as possible because he needs time on the natural for Spore Crawlers to finish still. Prism coming over here. I think Serral, can he... Well, he's going to get a Queen kill already. Yeah, I mean, even if he just goes for drones right now, he's going to get, what, like 2-3 drones? ShoWTimE is just going to have the time of his life, these DTs. Could have maybe gone a bit more done. Warps in at home to deflect these Zerglings as well. I mean, in case there was an attack across the map, you could warp in DTs too, although there is the lair now. Drops back over here. Is the Overseer ready? Nope, it is not. Hatchery cancelled again, and this game now really is becoming a disaster for our Zerg player, ShoWTimE, showing his prowess. And looking very, very solid. Unfortunately for Serral, his ladder record is not going to be carrying him through this tournament any further, apparently. Top 4 is an impressive result. He did win the last TV Penthouse tournament. Penthouse party. So it's not a bad result by Serral. And I mean, especially when you get knocked down by Gumiho and ShoWTimE, I don't think you can really complain. As we'll be seeing the DTs dropping off here once more. And a couple of Archons start morphing in. Zerglings will come in for a surround. This is really nice though. Serral will kill one of the Archons immediately. This is why you always try and hide those Archons as they morph, because that's expensive. Like one Archon going down for free. That's actually a really huge deal here now. And just going to be seeing the... and the hatchery just dropping down over here. So hatch drops down, trying to get this third base up now with an Overseer overhead. I kind of like the idea that Serral goes into a Spire. One of the greatest units in the game for Zerg to pull you back from a difficult position is almost always going to be the Mutas. I actually love everything Serral's doing here. You know, he's trying to drop, he's trying to harass. He knows he's behind and he knows he has to do something rather than just play a normal game to get, to fight back into this now. So I like the idea of dropping, trying to harass. I love the Spire though. I really do feel as though this is one of the smarter choices. Especially because this is the game that ShoWTimE is playing without a Stargate. I mean, if there's ever a time to try out your Mutalist style, it's going to be when the opponent doesn't have a Stargate. I mean, obviously, maybe there would have been a better situation when he didn't lose the third hatchery twice. But let's see how it goes. Let's see if these Mutas can try and draw him back into this. To be fair, if he gets across the map without the Mutas being seen, which might be difficult, Hallucinated Phoenix sees the Spire, right? He definitely sees that Spire. No way he doesn't. Okay, he knows the Spire's there. Right, Mutas coming across. If they can pick off 10 workers plus and delay this army, then I feel as though Serral might be okay. And I mean, I know that sounds really ridiculous, but the Mutas are such a powerful unit, and again, they're so good because they can force your Protoss opponent to misplay quite heavily. 2 workers so far, finding 3, 4. And he is forcing the army to come back home as well, by the way. The Sentries and the Adepts and the Immortals sat on the third base momentarily. Only 4 workers killed though. I mean, it's going to even out the worker count. The problem is Serral can't really allow things to just be even here. He needs things to be beneficial for him because he is behind. So killing off a few more workers I still think is necessary. Because otherwise, again, he's still just, the worker count is, the army's the income advantage is still pretty meh. Serral just needs something a little bit more. I wonder if he goes into more Mutas. He might, because there's no Stargate response to this from ShoWTimE. He's just going to go for Blink +2. He's just going to try and fight this with a ground army, which is a bit riskier than than the kind of Phoenix play. Let's see what happens, because he's going to find the Prism. Well, that's really nice. Finding the Prism here, chasing that back. Archon does drop down. I mean, knowing the Prism's maybe trying to move up the left-hand side is nice info. Here we go then. Serral, Ling, Roach, Ravager down the left. He'll be going for an aggressive attack. So he was just going to focus, you know, again, trying to use these meters to distract by time. And then set up a large attack down the left. Bane's morphing in as well. Let's see if he's going to be able to make this happen. Probes getting picked off here. Generally, I mean, obviously Ravager Ling Bane is a bit of an older school kind of play style. But it generally is used if you do build Roaches early. And a Roach Roaring in terms of a defense, usually against Archon drops. Because they still kind of fill the same role as Hydras. The Roaches and Ravagers. And it just makes more sense to, if you've already got some up, to just go for that playstyle rather than into the Hydraless tech. And just teching from there. Another probe goes down. Just picking away, finding what he can. Plus 2 melee about to finish. These meters in the end have been very effective, considering he hasn't lost a single one of them. He's really been finding some value. Taking a hatchery down to the bottom right. Not sure if that's a serious hatchery. It might be, considering that so much of the army from ShoWTimE will be focused to the left. Nice catch on a Immortal and a Sentry here already. Again, Serral making moves to just pull back. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the guy lost his third base twice in this game off the back of a 12 pool that, you know, forced some lack of mining, but not too much. Oh my god, Lings getting through the force fields. Another couple sentries going down. He'll turn and fight. Banes are going to roll forwards. Now Serral needs to find a way out of this, though. Don't think he can stick around and fight too much longer. Now the Prism is in the main base as well. Zealot's warping in, so it's time for Serral to get a response back at home for that. And he will be using the Mutalisk. He can come on in, he can clear out the Prism right away. It's one of the great things about having Mutas on the map, and it's something that Serral hasn't had on the map at all this series, so that'll be a nice benefit as he will begin to clean out these units. Smolden Pool already being rebuilt, so he's just going to chase down the other units first, knowing that those are something which he can deal with. And then again, the pool going down sucks, but he's already rebuilding it, right? So letting the Zealots continue to kill that is not the biggest issue in the world for him at this point of time. Again, a lot more Banes morphing in. Hatchery to the far left-hand side from Serral as well, setting it up here. A lot of Lings going to gather together. These Zealots going to charge on forwards. Ravagers and Banes looking to see what they can do also. Still so many of these Mutalisks from Serral flying around as well. So many Mutalisks. A couple of DTs going to finish warping, and well, another Archon morphs to the far left-hand side now. 50 Lings on the way up, plus 1 missile attack. Serral. I don't believe Serral's maxed out in this game with like a reasonable economy against. I just can't believe the way this game has gone at all. Serral's base, by the way, bottom right, did get cancelled or something. Mutas are across the map yet again, being a nuisance, being a pain, doing exactly what Mutas should be doing. As the Stalkers come in, it's almost as though he knows where they are, just pulling away so preemptively. And then loses his first Mutalisk of the game. The fact he still has all 7 alive is also pretty crazy. Really wants this assimilator. Will not get it. Again, sees the Mutalisk, sees the Stalker, so he pulls back once more. Wow, Storm on the way up here from ShoWTimE. So Storm is building. Zealots continue to run on forwards. They get surrounded by these Zerglings. Zerglings pick those off. 31 more Banes morphing in from Serral. Still a huge army from ShoWTimE over to the far left-hand side. And that is something which Serral, of course, at some point will have to try and fight on into. Let's see how he does it. Banes from the top. He's going to come in from the south as well. The storms are very late. Nice storm to the south side. There's not any storms remaining, though. Bane's going to crash in towards the Immortals, towards the Archons too. Is the Ravager Force going to be enough afterwards? It doesn't look as though it will be. More Banes ready to go as well, though. More Lings too going to stream on forwards. Is this enough? There is no storms. The Banes will splash down a lot of these units to lower health, but Serral has to back away. He has got money to spend. Zealots coming in, though, and actually at the same time, Zealots to the right-hand side. Serral, that's why he's pulling away, probably, rather than maybe trying to pick off a bit more, because he needs to defend this base. Cannot afford to lose the fourth. At this situation, ShoWTimE still playing this out very, very well indeed. Roaches, Ravagers still fighting their way through these Zealots. Zealots do keep on getting dropped on down their hive. On the way up to the top left-hand side, we're going to see these units of ShoWTimE keep pushing through also. You're going to see a couple of creep tumors getting cleaned out. Again, this army of Serral. Still looking to see what's going on. Still looking to see what's happening. 5th base from ShoWTimE, though. From ShoWTimE, well, we've been all hyped about Serral getting back into this and all the rest, but you gotta remember ShoWTimE still had a chance at, in this at all the times. And that fight might have just been what he needed to give himself that chance and really start to put it into fruition. The Mutas are now dead, bar one. Some Zerglings coming over here, but Zealots looking to protect, and they will protect this 5th base. And when the Protoss is taking the 5th and the Zerg is sat on 4, it's not too pretty a situation for the Zerg player. Not over yet, though. I mean, the 5th base ain't mining just yet. You know, the Zerg player ain't out yet either. Whoa, that was actually pretty deadly for Serral. That was not good. ShoWTimE just... I mean, he kills the High Templar, but ShoWTimE hits every storm so perfectly. GG, well played. Good luck, he calls. ShoWTimE advances into the low.